Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. During the time the Undyings were discussing, Luo Feng and the rest of the 1000 all lowered their heads to look at the screens on their wrists. On it displayed the duel rules they had received. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows as he looked. The rules are as follows: the 3-round duels that just ended, of which the 900 that made it through and received the 900 slots, they will be judged according to their performance in these 3 rounds. The Virtual Universe Company system will choose from these the most outstanding 100. They are Jiolai 11, Ka Peng Te, Losha, Leisha, Wu Ti Wei Sai Ku. These 100 will engage in duels with the initial 100 from the training space, a total of 200 people engaged in 1v1 battles. The victorious 100 people have the right to enter the Heaven and Land secret area. As for the other 900, they will all enter the last phase secret area. Amongst the victorious 100, according to the judgment of the Virtual Universe system, they'll pick out the most outstanding 20 and allow these 20 to battle 1v1, deciding the final 10. The top 10 have the right to enter the absolute beginning secret area. The first and second of the top 10 will also be chosen from there to enter the Primal secret area. The attachment below has specific details of the battles. This rule, sure, is dogmatic. Luo Feng thought they actually let the Virtual Universe system pick 100 out of the 900 to battle with the current top 100. Looks like the Virtual Universe Company has absolute trust and confidence in their system. Anyway, the problem doesn't affect me. I have the right to battle. How can it be this way? They don't even give us the right to duel. That's too much. This is overconfidence in the Virtual Universe system. In the plaza, the other absolute geniuses erupted in rage. The rules of this round meant that 800 of the final 1000 were immediately out of the game, not even giving them the chance to display their strengths. Naturally, many of the geniuses were extremely unhappy and dissatisfied. Virtual Universe Company. A sharp voice roared fiercely. Luo Feng even felt some discomfort in his ears, turning to look. Amongst the group, a 5-meter tall, skinny-bodied, with a vertical eye in the middle of his forehead, this youth's expression was pained. There was madness in his 3 eyes, raging and shouting, "I have a 100% guarantee of entering the top 100, even the top 20. How can you immediately rely on the Virtual Universe system and just toss me aside? I won't accept this. I won't accept this. Unfair. It's unfair." Beside, others began to shout out, "This way is unfair. Actually fighting, whoever loses gets eliminated. That's the fair way, otherwise we won't accept this." Immediately about 10 youths from different universe countries began to shout out. Luo Feng, Rongjian, and the others on the 200 name list remained calm. The other 800 however were raging madly with the 3-eyed youth. The rest of them were extremely unhappy. "Shut up, what are you doing? All shut up." The distant 1008 Undyings, many of them raged. Simultaneously that strong consciousness and pressure extended over, immediately pressuring the 800 youths, causing all of them to go pale, all shivering, their legs trembling. Finally some couldn't take it and knelt down, and later they all knelt down, unable to withstand the pressure. 800 youths kneeling down. The 800 geniuses didn't dare to believe. The 3-eyed youth too had an expression of disbelief. Right, they were all true absolute geniuses. In their universe countries, they were number ones. Always sitting high on a pedestal, even the universe country leaders heavily respected him, his opinion respected by many Undyings. From that youth's point of view, this rule was simply overbearing. His request should be able to be met. However, the answer of the Virtual Universe Company was that simple: if you don't agree, just leave. No one is forcing you to join. That's simple, really stupid. Among the 1008 Undyings, a long black-haired Undying, looking at the kneeling 800 people, saying coldly, "The Virtual Universe Company's upper echelon made the rules and decisions. Do you think you little punks can actually change it? You are really ahead of yourselves. If it was that Death God Bolan punk that raised an opinion, maybe it might get noticed. But that's only because he was long regarded as the one to enter the Primal secret area, a member of the Primal secret area." An old man in a white robe covered in silver scales looked at the 3-eyed youth. "As for you, only the outer layer of the core. How can you dare to reject, little punks? Remember, you may be the most elite geniuses of your universe countries. However, in the Virtual Universe Company, they organize a star-level genius competition every 10,000 years, and a universe-level genius competition. Within the Virtual Universe Company, there are countless geniuses. The strong are numerous as the wind. You all should just stay low profile. It fits you better. Going against the decision of the upper echelon is a big mistake." 1008 Undyings. They were all very clear that these were all extremely talented geniuses. However, geniuses normally had pride, temperament issues. And the path to the pinnacle of strength was extremely long and tedious. If one always kept this sort of pride, it was very easy to fall, hence fiercely knocking them back down was a good thing. Within the large hall of skyscraper 0825, Luo Feng and Rong Jun sat in chairs. As for the other three, they were all eliminated in the 3-round duels before. I was still a little proud, however, that scene before. I understand now, in the eyes of the virtual universe company, we are only some seedlings they are absorbing. Luo Feng shook his head. The virtual universe company itself has accumulated many geniuses. The position is not the same. Naturally our words and opinions matter at different levels too. Savage said softly, the 4 secret areas are the virtual universe's way of distinction between their members. Didn't you hear what that Undying said before? Maybe only Death God Bolan's opinion would get some recognition. The sector lords in the virtual universe company's primal secret area was only a 100. One could easily see how special being a member was. Being higher than the emperor of a star field wasn't strange. Also, I heard, the members have special bodyguards. Savage spoke, the leader of the guards is an Undying, and within the guards there are 10 sector lords and a 100 domain lords. No matter how calm Luo Feng was, he couldn't help but stare wide-eyed. Damn, is it really true? Luo Feng couldn't help but lose his composure. Members of the primal secret area having guards wasn't strange, however the leader of the guards was actually an Undying. This was too terrifying. Don't be surprised, the virtual universe company, as one of the 5 great leviathans, even Undyings, in the virtual universe company, many are mostly only in the absolute beginning secret area. Just from their position, they are much lower. Savage spoke, you should understand just how valuable and high the position of being a member of the primal secret area is. Any one of them are extremely important elites in the company. Just the resources spent on them, if changed to cash, are incredibly unbelievable amounts. Luo Feng was completely stunned. When Luo Feng returned to his room, he was still disturbed. It took a while for him to calm down. That savage Rong Jun, how does he know so much? Luo Feng thought, he actually knows quite a bit about the 4 secret areas of the virtual universe company. Looks like his background isn't that simple. The 2 from the Ganwu universe that made it to the top 1000, Luo Feng and Rong Jun, came from their own star fields. While they seem to not have any background at all, in truth, Luo Feng inherited the Yunmo planet teachings and is also a golden horned beast. And savage Rong Jun, his true identity and background, was obviously not that simple either. On Earth, Yangju City Westlake Courtyard, within the castle. Sitting in the tea room, pouring a glass of tea and taking a sip, his consciousness was communicating with Babata. Babata, just what's up with the 4 secret areas of the virtual universe company? Luo Feng told Babata everything he had just heard from Rong Jun, telling him the rules for the duel too, also about what happened in the plaza. That group of idiots, they actually dared doubt the virtual universe company system. My God, their brains must be flooded with water. The virtual universe system is a transcendental existence that can emulate the origin laws. Babata exclaimed. Oh, Luo Feng realized. Babata obviously stood on the virtual universe system side. That savage Rong Jun said the right thing. The primal secret area members have extremely high positions. Babata said, to the virtual universe company, to be able to enter the primal secret area, these are the extremely rare geniuses of the entire universe, hence they are willing to spend huge amounts of treasure and wealth to nurture them. How much? Is it as much as my teacher's wealth? Luo Feng asked. Luo Feng, you have to understand one thing. Babata said seriously, your teacher was indeed a very powerful Undying, even the Black Dragon Mountain Empire had to lower its head in front of him. However, your teacher, compared to the Ganwu universe country, was a completely different level. Luo Feng nodded. Ganwu universe country leader, that was an ancient being that had lived for trillions of years, creating and opening an entire universe country. The leader of the Ganwu universe country has to show respect to the virtual universe company. Babata said, 1008 universe countries, who dare offend the virtual universe country? That's the true huge power. Such a huge powerful existence, nurturing geniuses in the primal secret area. They have very strict plans, numbers extremely small and pitiful, the wealth that they actually spend. Do you think your teacher's wealth can compare to that? Luo Feng was silent. Your vision must be broader. Look further, don't limit yourself to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire or the universe countries, but look to the entire universe. Babata, I don't understand too well now. The primal area members, just the star levels, they are able to get guards, and the leader of the guards is an Undying. Luo Feng said, no matter how it is, that's an Undying. Great Undying. Yes, Undying are great. Babata said, however, a primal area member is also a great being itself. Luo Feng, I'll explain it to you this way. Babata said, what determines the level of position isn't just strength alone, it depends on many factors. Like the virtual universe company's business division, some of the business geniuses or investors, their strength may be very low, however they still enjoy an extremely high position, just like the investor genius in the universe First Bank, VTE, he invests with unbelievable amounts of wealth, even though his strength may be weak, but he still has undyings to take care and protect him. Luo Feng was shocked, same logic, just like that death god Bolan, right, he's very weak now. But you have to understand, he's an absolute genius, the pinnacle of the human race in 1 trillion years. One only appears every trillion years or so. And 1 trillion years is akin to a sector lord's lifespan, 1008 universe countries, every universe country has over 1 million sector lords. You calculate, how many sector lords are produced by the entire human race over 1 trillion years. Luo Feng held his breath, that death god Bolan, in terms of value, position, one can only imagine, everyone who enters the primal secret area are all the most important elites of the virtual universe company. That's their route. Babata exclaimed, comprehension of the origin laws is easiest during the sector lord stage. And during the difficult star level stage, the death god Bolan already has such a level of comprehension of the space law. Think about it, how high will his achievements be in the future? No doubt about it, as long as he doesn't die, in space origin law itself, he will definitely exceed your teacher. As long as he becomes an undying, he'll be the pinnacle being even amongst the others, almost invincible. Babata exclaimed, and the space origin law, as one of the 2 hardest origin laws, if he can become an undying, that would be terrifying. You have to remember, even amongst undyings, the differences are huge, hence that time Sector Lord had such ambition, however he didn't succeed, if he did, and became an undying. His strength would be close to your teacher, of course. The virtual universe company core is separated into 4 secret areas. From high to low, primal, absolute beginning, heaven and land, beginning phase. Many undyings are in the absolute beginning secret area. Don't bite off more than you can chew. If you can enter the absolute beginning secret area, that would be considered a success already. What's more, your most important task right now is to settle your first opponent Wu Ti Wei Sai Ku. Luo Feng lifted his teacup and drank it all. Wu Ti Wei Sai Ku, that was his opponent tomorrow. Daybreak of the second day. Plaza, the 1,000 geniuses gathered. Luo Feng was mixed in the crowd, looking at the distant tall 3-eyed youth. Those 3 eyes were gloomy. Obviously the blow he suffered yesterday was huge, Sir Knight. The distant 1008 undying bowed respectfully. In one of the arenas was Luo Feng and Wu Ti Wei Sai Ku. The silver-white arena had an area of 10 square kilometers. The black net covered the entire arena. Madman Luo Feng, from the Gunwu Universe Country Black Dragon Mountain Empire, rank in the training space 3, displaying madness with extreme calm, hence the name. A skinny youth with completely black lips stared at the distant Luo Feng coldly, shouting, my rank in the training space was 113, I will let you know that the training space didn't stand for anything, cut the crap. Carrying the dark golden long rod on his back, Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and floated in the distant air shouting back, very well. The skinny youth smiled, I'll settle you and I'll be able to enter the heaven and land secret area. Then I'll settle another and I'll enter the absolute beginning area. A gust of wind blew, the skinny youth became a gust of wind and headed towards Luo Feng, seemingly slow but actually extremely fast. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and surveyed his opponent from mid-air, details of his opponent flashing in his mind. Wu Ti Wei Sai Ku, nicknamed Gale, uses a level 5 genetic energy weapon Void Shadow Blade. During battle his blade moves extremely quick, mixed in the mad winds, extremely fierce and swift, hard to block, go and die. The skinny youth's eyes gleamed. The originally wind-like skinny youth suddenly increased his speed. Simultaneously the Void Shadow Blade in his hand became a fierce engulfing gale. Endless blades gathered together to form a mad wind that engulfed everything. This mad wind blade dance surrounded even Luo Feng, allowing him no space to dodge. Luo Feng snorted. Standing on the dark cloud shuttle and suddenly becoming a mysterious trace, in that seemingly overwhelming blade wind dance, he found an opening to slip through, leaving 9 images behind, causing the skinny youth's expression to change. He can even escape this. The information on the 9 threads is indeed terrifying. In the time Luo Feng took to dodge the attacks, the dark golden long rod on his back shot out 5 golden lights, forming 5 golden blades in mid-air. Go. Luo Feng stared coldly at his opponent, as though he was staring at a dead person. This leaving blade had the properties of the wind origin laws. Its speed was extremely quick, it floated and arced about, its power was huge, it was his biggest trump card. During the training space stages, he didn't have any use for secret weapons, and later during the 3-round duels, His opponents weren't enough for him to have to use it, hence it had been kept a secret till now. He had been preparing to use it on an unready opponent. Trump card, they had the biggest power when unexpected. Without preparation, it was easy to get hit. The moment it was found out, however, they would automatically have defenses for it, the trump card's power would be weakened. However, Luo Feng was too calm. Even though this move was sudden, Luo Feng's terrifying calmness, without any hesitation acting in the best course of action to deal with it, not only did four golden rainbows block it, unleashing the sword matrix along with his dodging made it completely useless. Go and die. Luo Feng looked coldly at his opponent. The other 5 golden rainbows surrounded the skinny youth. His speed obviously couldn't match up to the golden rainbows. In an instant, he was pierced through. Wu Ti Wei Saiku, fail. Luo Feng, victory. Luo Feng descended from mid-air and looked at the white light that was stopped. It was a silver-white little blade, anyone capable of making it into the top 100. Indeed, they are not to be sneezed at. Within the universe, a spirit reader could control their spirit weapons from far, and fighters too could use throwing weapons, like javelins, short hatchets, short blades, etc. Using Earth terms, these were called secret weapons. Secret weapons were indeed powerful, and rarely seen. After winning the first battle, Luo Feng entered the top 100. His prize rose to 100 mixed elements, and he gained the right to enter the virtual universe company Heaven and Land secret area. Congratulations to the punks in the arenas. The green-armored purple-scaled man stood in mid-air, surveying the 100 young ladies and gentlemen within the arenas. Firstly, I want to congratulate you on entering the top 100, able to enter our virtual universe company's Heaven and Earth secret area. Right now, we'll pick the top 20 from you all according to the virtual universe system choices. I'll report the 20 names. Immediately, the 100 just victorious youth geniuses began to get nervous, even though they had won. However, only 20 of them would get the chance to go to the next round and battle, picking out the final 10. Luo Feng stood in the arena he battled in, looking at the green-armored purple-scaled man in mid-air, creasing his eyebrows. I didn't reveal my strongest trump card. My rating in the virtual universe system might be lower. However, according to what the scale-armored giant said and concluded, I should be able to rank in the top 10, then I should get chosen. Bolan. The green-armored purple-scaled man began reporting the 20 names: Gu Sai Luo, Ai Chen, Wuka, Yi Feng, Jiolai 11, Rong Jun. As the names were read out, those who didn't have their names read could barely suppress their nervousness. They were all victorious, yet only 20 could participate in the next battle: Qian Shui, Luo Feng, Dao. The chosen 20 are the names that I just reported. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. Will the 20 of you rest and recover from the battle before? In a short time, we will begin the next battle. As for who your opponent is, you'll find out when the battle begins. A group of youths sat casually in the plaza. Candidate, congrats on making it into the top 100. Don't even talk about it, even though I made it to the top 100. However, I wasn't chosen in the final 20. The tall and sturdy candidate had a look of dissatisfaction, even though those in the top 20 are all powerful, and I don't have a chance of winning. However, without actually making a move, I still feel dissatisfaction. Candidate, don't be upset, we are all unhappy too. I didn't even get the chance to make it into the top 100. The youths that didn't have any more battles to fight were chatting casually. Everyone chatted and got to know each other, because from today on, many of them would become long-term partners in the universe. And the final 20 sat in the corner quietly. They were quietly resting and controlling their mental state. Because in a moment, the more important battle was about to begin. The next battle would pick out the top 10, these 20 that were able to get on the name list. Probably only Death God Bolan had a 100% guarantee. The other 19 weren't sure of their victory. My opponent, just who is it? Luo Feng's gaze swept his surroundings. 2 of the other 19 too were looking in all directions. One was the Manca Prince Wuka and the other was the fat man carrying the blood axe Dao. The Manca Prince smiled at Luo Feng and waved his fist. The fat man too glanced at Luo Feng and rubbed his ears. The arrangements of this battle, they didn't reveal. We'll only know when it's time to battle. This is probably a test too on our mental state. Luo Feng stopped worrying about it, closing his eyes, and according to his big and second brother's methods, cleansed himself and emptied his mind, entering a calm state, patiently waiting for the battle to begin. About half an hour later, rumble, the plaza shook. In the vast plaza 10 arenas rose gradually. All were enveloped in large amounts of black netting. Simultaneously, the 20 resting people were immediately transported to the 10 arenas. Within the arena, damn, tragedy. That blood axe Dao actually faces Death God Bolan. We've been guessing who'd be so unlucky to meet Bolan. It's actually Dao, poor fellow. In the distance, the 980 other geniuses spectating laughed, and in the arena the wild unrestricted fat man Dao gripped on that terrifying huge axe, almost like a ferocious beast staring at the white-robed youth, however anyone could have predicted the outcome. Death God Bolan, that was an absolute genius that only appeared once after how many competitions? The Virtual Universe company even specially included one more slot for the Primal secret area just because of him. The chances of the Blood Axe Dao being able to violently defeat the Death God Bolan were simply too low, unless he was a terrifying genius that appeared once every trillion years. Gu Sai Luo against Rong Jun. Gu Sai Luo was the training space rank 2, a very perfect, no-error kind of strength. Among these 20, probably only he has the ability to fight Bolan. That Rong Jun meeting Gu Sai Luo, it's over. Many in the entire arena stared at Bolan against Dao. However, there were many watching another match, Hypnotist July 11 against Madman Luo Feng. That Hypnotist has met the Madman, the two sick ones have met from beginning to end. Hypnotist didn't even make a move, just staring at his opponents and defeating them. Who knows whether that Madman can withstand it? It's hard to say. Hypnotist is the most terrifying spirit reader hypnotist of this competition. Till now no one has been able to withstand it, and besides using hypnotism, he can also use a spirit weapon to engage in long-distance attacks. When the opponent is caught in the illusion without any defenses, it'll be over quickly. Up till now, he hasn't even used a spirit weapon. Always only using hypnotism. His hypnotism must be extremely terrifying. Don't look down on Madman. I've seen his battle footage, so many footages. I've never seen him nervous or at a lose. His eyes, always cold, almost as though nothing affects his mental state. Hypnotist was regarded as the top 10, Madman 2 was regarded as the top 10, these two meeting, it'll be interesting. 10 arenas, 10 battles. Every match was a pinnacle fight, compared to the fights to become the top 100 before. The match-ups now, only now were they truly worthy of the title pinnacle fights. In the arena, one on the Dark Cloud shuttle, dressed in a dark grey armor, carrying a dark golden long rod, a skinny black-haired youth. The other stood on a black disc, a tall and skinny silhouette covered in a black robe. Both were spirit readers, however they walked two different paths of a spirit reader. One was a controller while the other a hypnotist. The controller directed spirit weapons to destroy the physical body, while hypnotists directed their attacks to destroy the soul directly. It was extremely hard to make progress as a hypnotist, however once that was achieved, they were terrifying. Becoming a controller was easier, however to become powerful, that too was difficult. Madman Luo Feng. The hypnotist Jiao Laishi's voice was coarse, saying softly, "You have the strength of the top 10, however meeting me, you'll only be able to rank outside the top 10, so confident?" Luo Feng smiled, his eyes gleaming. The two awaited the announcement. In the 10 arenas, they all awaited, the victor will enter the top 10, little punks, don't get careless, your opponents are all very strong. Let the battle begin. The green-armored purple-scaled man said from far away, his voice resounding in everyone's ears. Simultaneously, the 10 arena battles erupted. Jiolai 11 who was standing on the black disc, his gaze cold as his lips slightly moved. Wang! A formless traceless spirit energy immediately rippled towards Luo Feng, invading his mind. His spirit energy was simply too fast. While unleashing his hypnotism, Jiolai 11 waved his hand simultaneously. The black disc below his feet had become a black light cutting straight towards Luo Feng's head. The first time. In the arena battles, this was the first time the hypnotist Jiolai 11 used hypnotism and his spirit weapon in a simultaneous attack. A formless spirit energy sneakily invaded Luo Feng's consciousness. His consciousness was vast and endless, however a huge golden pagoda almost took up the entire space. This void pagoda had a total of 2 levels. This void pagoda with engravings appearing all over looked completely like a transparent crystal glowing with a golden light. It looked almost perfect, non-damaged and was completely able to protect his soul core within. The Void Pagoda, Level 2. This was a secret technique passed down from the master of the Yunmo planet. Luo Feng had studied and focused on the Soul Imprint and Void Pagoda, of which the Soul Imprint was created by his teacher. However, the deeper he delved into these arts, the more they favored soul attacks. Since his specialty was a controller, he slowly reduced his training on the Soul Imprint. Once he reached the basic 10,000 blade soul imprint and was able to condense his enslavement imprint, he stopped going deeper. On the other hand, the Void Pagoda was very important in Luo Feng's plan. As a spirit reader controller, he may be weaker in soul attacks. However, his defense had to be strong, he shouldn't have any obvious weaknesses. Hence, he never relaxed on that training. And the Void Pagoda was a very powerful technique. His teacher back then only acquired it by chance too, and before death, he had only reached 6 levels of the pagoda. If he had reached the 7th level, according to what his teacher assumed, that tragedy back then, he wouldn't have died. One could only imagine how powerful the Void Pagoda was. During the past 5 years, Luo Feng had never relaxed during his training. With the Gold and Space Origin Law comprehension, he reached level 2 of the Pagoda. Void Pagoda was purely for defense. The Hypnotist Jiao Laishi's traceless spirit energy invaded Luo Feng's consciousness, immediately hitting the Void Pagoda. Upon contact, it didn't attack, but spread like a membrane to wrap around the Void Pagoda, gradually contacting it. The Void Pagoda, in essence, was made of spirit energy which was incomparably condensed. However, it was still spirit energy. And spirit energy was always infused with a trace of consciousness. Soul, in truth, was a complete fusion of countless amounts of spirit energy. With the formless spirit energy making contact with the Void Pagoda, Luo Feng's consciousness fell into a terrifying hypnotism. A second ago he was still clearly battling Jiao 11, however in an instant his consciousness was in a different scene altogether. How can this be? Luo Feng stood above the Pacific Ocean, looking at a over 100 kilometers long huge ferocious beast wreaking havoc, creating enormous waves. Simultaneously there were two 10 kilometers fierce absolute beasts spewing fire towards the ground. The skyscrapers and entire base city was in ruins, people were screaming in pain, while countless of them were running away. 30. What do we do? Just what can we do? These are at least domain lord level ferocious beasts, we can't match up to them. A panicked thunder god voice transmitted from his communicator. What, third brother, quickly protect the final seedlings and leave Earth. Quickly flee. These are the last seedlings of Earth. Hong's panicked expression appeared on his communicator too. Something is not right, wake up. Wake up. Luo Feng felt as though he was dreaming when he was young. Even though he consciously knew that he was dreaming, it was still difficult to wake up. Although he was in this state currently, the main thing was that his consciousness was too strong. Along with his mental state training and golden horned beast influence, his soul was incomparably cold. Hence his consciousness detected the hypnotism immediately. Being conscious of the fact was one thing, actually waking up was the important thing. Luckily the Void Pagoda had a tight defense on his soul core. So even if the hypnotist Jiao Laishi's spirit hypnotism was incredibly powerful, it could only slightly affect him, as it was unable to penetrate deep into his soul. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Luo Feng's willpower let out a strong and powerful roar, and the illusion world began to shake. Peng. The illusion was broken. Luo Feng had completely regained consciousness. Unlike that dreamy illusion world, everything before his eyes was incredibly clear. This was the true 100% simulation of the virtual universe. The black disk had already reached close to Luo Feng. Just nice. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Standing on the dark cloud shuttle, his speed fiercely accelerated, simultaneously brandishing many shields. As the distance was too close, he didn't have time to use the Nanshan armament. Dang! The black disk clashed on the shield, causing the shield to get knocked away. It brushed Luo Feng's arm, cutting through the armor, and a large part of his flesh, fresh blood spewed out from mid-air, while Luo Feng had already dodged far away. Go and die. Luo Feng roared within, pointing at the distant Jiao 11 who had an expression of shock. Rumble. 6 golden energy flows flew out from behind Luo Feng and immediately formed 6 golden blades, piercing towards Jiao 11. Jiao Laishi's expression was filled with shock. Impossible. Simultaneously, large amounts of golden shards formed around him to become an armor. The 6 golden rainbows pierced right through his helmet, eventually reducing his body to nothing but a mess. Rumble. An explosion and fresh blood flew all over. Jiao 11 was defeated. Madman Luo Feng was the victor. He entered the top 10. That was how fast a match between two absolute geniuses was like. If Luo Feng had awoken any later, it would have been him who would have died instead, with his head sliced right off. However, the moment he awoke, it meant Jiao Laishi's death. How can that be? Covered in a black robe, Jiao Laishi's eyes were filled with shock. My confusion god technique, according to my country leader, he said that only Bolan had reached a level where he wouldn't be affected. Others wouldn't be able to withstand it. Even within the top 10, I had a guarantee. I should even have had the hope of making it to the top 2. How come he, even if he wasn't caught in the illusion, to actually struggle and break out of the dream requires time. Within that little time, I should have been able to kill him, but he indeed had defensive methods. That defensive spirit weapon which formed his armor could barely withstand the 6 golden blades attack. However, Luo Feng's attack was simply too strong and ended up destroying him. Strong defense. Along with an even more terrifying spirit weapon attack with hypnotism. 1v1, he was indeed a terrifying opponent. However, he still lost. He lost. July 11 lost? Many spectating geniuses were all shocked. From the previous footages of July 11, he was simply too intrepid. He did not even have to use his spirit weapon before, just his soul attack alone along with hypnotism could kill the enemy, and his moves were outstanding every time. This time, July 11 didn't even take his enemy lightly, as he regarded madman Luo Feng as a true enemy. Hence, he used hypnotism and his spirit weapon simultaneously. However, he still lost. With his full strength, he still lost. Luo Feng actually won. The distant 1008 Undyings, their eyes gleamed. Over half of them had regarded Luo Feng as the loser of this match from the get-go, because they were very clear about the difficulty of training in hypnotism and just how terrifying a powerful hypnotist was to be able to immediately awaken. Just how strong must one's willpower be? How calm? This punk is powerful, definitely powerful. A 10 tall man who looked like a bull with a horn exclaimed and complimented, his voice booming like thunder. Luo Feng's victory was considered quite a surprise. The main thing was July 11 was long regarded by the Undyings as one that only Bolan could withstand. After all, with his comprehension of the origin laws being that deep, his consciousness was affected by the universe energies. Hence, he wouldn't so easily be shaken. The stronger a fighter, the stronger one comprehends the origin laws. His willpower and strength were more terrifying. If it was anyone else against July 11, their losing percentage would have exceeded 80%. Actually, of the top 20, other than Bolan, the other 18 would naturally feel apprehensive against July 11. Even Luo Feng didn't have full confidence. However, this difficult person was actually eliminated by Luo Feng. Part 1 end here.